Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Touliatos and brought to you by his huge book. Look at this thing, The Bible of Bodybuilding, over 700 pages, everything you need to know, Bible of Bodybuilding 2, training, nutrition, supplementation, PED use, get that on Amazon.com. And if you're on Amazon.com, get my book too, why not? Real Bodybuilding, Ron Harris, great book. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George Touliatos. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Hello, Ron.
Yeah.
This is 225 because the last one was supposed to be 224.
225 is a great even number. I remember when I was trying to get big when I was a young man, that's the body weight I wanted. I said, I want to be 225 someday. That just sounded big to me. Of course, that's like, now they get to 325, but back in those days, 225 was a big guy. I don't know if you saw Hassan Mustafa finally qualified for the Olympia. Yeah.
Good for him. I mean, we need to see somebody from the Middle East also, from Egypt. He's a mass master, and I'm sure he was in his best conditioning.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so Chad bring him in peace, So he's gonna be tight, this top 10, I guess.
I think top 10 is very realistic for him. Top 5 is very, very crowded. Top 5 is going to be
occupied already.
Yeah, we kind of already have that. It's probably going to be, Hadi, Derek, or maybe Derek's going to win this time. Nick Walker, still got Brandon Curry still in the mix. Big Rami. I think Rami's going to take this year off, but we still have Andrew. So many great. Yeah, who knows? But it's going to be a great show. But yeah, not till November. And let's get into some questions, Doctor. I want to start with one that was for both of us, but you're going to answer more than I am because you're the man when it comes to this type of information. If you had to choose only one testosterone ester and use it for the rest of your life, which you kind of have, which one would you pick and why? Do you think that a blend of esters like Sustanon 250 is superior to all other esters? Please state your pros and cons.
Yeah, so in my book, I answered last year one of the questions, and I was Q&A myself and saying, what is the most anabolic testosterone? Is the suspension that holds zero of the compound, so releases 100%. Oh, according to the anabolic activity, there's no ester because it's water-based, it's like Winstrol. So you simulate, you utilize all of it, okay, 100%. That's why you need to inject it daily because it clears the system so fast. But if you want to speak about gains, it's the testosterone suspension. Now, the Sustanon has a peculiar mix that has a very fast ester, which is propionate, but also has the andecaonate inside, also isocaprate, but it's a blend, so it enters rapidly into the system. So if you inject it on Monday, you're going to have it until Friday, but it clears the system also slowly, slower than the propionate. So after 1 week, because of the slow ester, but there are fragments of them, so parts, 50% one, 50% the other. Okay, so it's 40 and 50%, I think, in 25%, I'm sorry. So Sustanon for DRT, listen, in the UK, they're using Sustanon, which is pharmaceutical. But if you want to use one speed, it's either propionate or NFA, which is 68 to 71%, 5 to 7 days half-life. And propionate gives you the benefit and the advantage of the microdose because you do it exactly as it is with propionate every other day or 3 times a week. Okay. Now with propionate, you can inject also once a week. All right. Sometimes. The trough levels come around day number 6 or 7. Okay. With NFA, it's around day number 5. Okay, as long as it's from pharmaceutical grade, I guess it's all good. Now, if you use andecaonate, you need 2 weeks in order to inject. All right, otherwise it's a waste. It's pointless because you need much time to reach those levels because this slow ester kicks very slow.
You're on TRT. You use propionate, right?
I'm doing enanthate.
Oh, enanthate. Okay.
In the very beginning, I was getting supply for propionate underground. I was trying the daily dose of propionate. And the benefit of propionate in microdose is that we introduce a very small amount that has very small kick to the estrogens, to the hematocrit, and you inject the smallest amount of oil, okay? So there's no case of lump or abscess.
It seems like it's a matter of personal preference. If you want it, someone who's willing to inject every day versus maybe somebody only wants to inject once a week or twice a week. I mean, I'm fine with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, personally now I'm switching to every 7 days because I'm also injecting glutathione every day. I want to keep myself detoxified, and I want to avoid cancer, you know, let's say with daily glutathione.
Yeah.
So I save my glutes or my delts for glutathione with an insulin series. And I'm saying, I mean, what the heck? I've tried every kind of protocol. Now let's stick only every Monday, because probably some days I was confused. Said, did I shoot yesterday or should I shoot today or tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's not a kind of Alzheimer, but you have so many obligations that if you do it every other day, it's not, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but it's every other. And you have to set an alarm, you know.
I write it down on my calendar. That's I write it down because I forget too. But
or every 5 days, for instance. When is the 5th day? Okay, is it today? Was yesterday? Or is tomorrow?
I use Cypionate because I get it prescribed. It's actual pharmaceutical stuff from Frontline.
Also, it's the best. It's the slowest, apart from an anticoagulate. So you can sit down and say, even once a week, if I miss my dose, it's all good with Cypionate. It's very slow.
I mean, once it's in your system, it's got that half-life. It's not like
it's
gone. But if you're doing propionate, you have to stay on top of that every day or every other day, or else.
And also mind that propionate loses system, so you tend less likely to aromatize.
Yeah. So I mean, if I had to pick one ester, I would go with Sustanon. If I could get pharmaceutical grade Sustanon, I would do that twice a week personally. I just like mentally, I like the idea of that propionate kicking in right away. I know it doesn't even matter because it's still in my system from, you know,
but that change that the best is Sustanon 250 for bodybuilding, let's say. You know, many bodybuilders are very anxious to start seeing results. You don't see results with NF8 or Cypionate the first 2 weeks. But with Sustanon, you can get this kick from the propionate.
Yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of guys start cycles off with orals too. Maybe just the first 2 to 4 weeks, because they want to feel something now, like right away. And you know, you pop a D-ball or an Anadrol, by the next day, you're starting to feel something, a little bit of something. It's working. It's obviously goes right into your system. All right, good answer. Here's another one. Can years of training or testosterone anabolic steroid use eventually induce muscle hyperplasia, or is this only observed with GHU? So hyperplasia is when the cells divide and you get more muscle cells?
Yes. I think this scenario happens with low reps, 1 to 4.
Okay.
Just like Michael Hearn does. I mean, muscle strength is the so-called myofibril hypertrophy, not the sarcoplasmatic, which is the 8 to 12. And yes, it's also engagement of the satellite cells that deal also with muscle memory, but also we have a plastic phenomenon that give their nucleus, okay? And this is when the fibers split and you have duplication, let's say, theoretically, of the muscle fibers. And this is when you have the so-called permanent gains, because you have more muscle that has also to be hypertrophied, okay? So that's how the GH works. I mean, you make the 50 muscle fibers 100, but you need also those extra 50 to make them grow, okay? Just like we do with steroids. But training also has, I mean, training like with Olympic weightlifting, it can stimulate this myofibril hyperplasia.
So with just getting to the growth hormone question, is that dose dependent, or would someone using 2 or 3
yes,
IUs
of course,
a day?
dose dependent, because dose dependent is the idea of one kick.
Okay. So like how much, you know, what would you estimate how much GH would a person need to be using a day to see this hyperplasia effect?
Well, certainly over 4, because with 4, you definitely kick the roof of the IGF-1, but sky's the limit, more is better. So if you do 8, you may double your roof of the ceiling of IGF-1, and you know, then you need also steroids to make those extra fibers enlarge along with the stimulant.
Craziest GH I've heard so far dose is someone doing a 36 IU pen every day. Wow.
But listen, soon after, you're gonna have issues with the wrists and the fluid retention and the blood pressure. So most of these perhaps will be weight gain, but the point is in the 6 months window, you can grow them. You can get advantage of this and make the new muscle fibers to enlarge with food, of course, and resistance training.
In a day, that's going to cost you a lot of money, guys. So
yeah, one pen a day increases to €200, but in America it's $400.
Yeah, every day. Imagine doing that, guys. Well, to some of you guys,
it's 12,000 a month.
Yeah, if you made a lot of money on Bitcoin or something, I guess you're okay. But everyone else, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. Here's a training question, doctor. Is there any benefit to reverse grip bench press or reverse grip dumbbell press? Are they riskier for wrist injury? So that's this.
Well, ask Michael Hurd because personally, I never tried it. I'm afraid of doing this. I mean, the grip is less safe in terms that you may lose the grip and then the bar will. Yeah, well, in this way, it's much safer, because you lock it in this way. Yeah. But this, perhaps the press is better to the elbow, to the triceps.
My wrists don't even rotate there. I can't even get my wrist over like that all the way. It's very, very difficult for me. I don't know what advantage. I mean, I don't even know what the advantage is.
I guess perhaps it has to do with the vertical tension on the elbow and the tricep. Also, Nora, the wife of Mike, is doing this the reverse, but much lighter. But
Mona, yeah.
Mona,
I heard, and this might be wrong, but I seem to remember. You remember that book? Per Tesh did a book about muscle activation with the I think he did EMG, and it showed like the scans, like the scans of how the muscle was working during different exercises. And I think a reverse grip targeted a little more upper pec, but to me, it's not worth the risk of. It is very unsafe. You could easily lose your grip like that.
When you're flat, in order to simulate the higher pec, you need to put it on your larynx.
Your neck.
Yeah, exactly.
These are all bad ideas.
You can do it 30 degrees instead of 45.
You should have a very good spotter, anybody. If you ever try bench press to the neck, somebody should have their hand on that bar. You don't want to.
Or do it super slowly with average weight.
Yeah, because you remember who Vince Aranda was, the Iron Guru trainer from back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. He trained a lot of movie stars. He was really a proponent of bench press to the neck called guillotine press. He wanted like everyone in his gym to do that. But I haven't seen anybody do that in years and years. All right, let's get back to medical questions. Is there any way to lower my PSA? I have a 0.50 nanogram per milliliter PSI. I'm 40 years old on HRT. Is this a good number, 0.50? I have a friend a few years older than me. He's on steroids, and his PSA is 0.32, which is lower than his. Should I be worried? Do men on HRT get prostate cancer eventually? Any supplements that can help with this? So first of all, what is a good PSA? So this is the prostate-specific antigen, right?
So it's 0.5 for a 40-year-old guy. It's totally reasonable. I mean, normal. And besides, you shouldn't worry about your PSA until you're 45.
Okay.
And PSA has to be excluded from ejaculation. So if you have sex, repeat it again if you ride the bike and if you use the stationary bicycle. Besides, if you have prostatitis, it can also be enlarged. But don't be paranoid about normal values. Now, this guy that has 3.2, how old is he?
He didn't say, but his friend is on steroids and his PSA is lower.
Yeah, it is lower, but yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm saying that if you're too young, it doesn't affect. Now, if you're until your 50s, it should be below 2. And at 0.5, I mean, we don't even bother about measuring this PSA. And even if it's 1.5, let's say, you have to exclude the ejaculation, the prostatitis, the perineum pressing by stationary bike or motorcycle. Okay, so chill out and don't be paranoid.
And do men on HRT get prostate cancer eventually?
Oh my God, we said this numerous times. Testosterone leads to cancer, low testosterone leads to cancer. Testosterone may enlarge the gland, but has nothing to do with malignancy of the prostatic tissue. And you can also control the size of the prostatic with anti-androgens in case, of course, the PSA is elevated and you do an MRI or you do the digital rectal examination and it's big and hard. Now, prevention, you can use lycopene, you can use soquelitinib instead of the Finasteride, Dustateride. Now, ejaculating is good in a frequency, let's say 3 times a week, because it avoids the stenosis of the prostatic portion. Cialis also helps with that. But thank God, testosterone does not lead to prostate cancer. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to use testosterone. Now, among bodybuilders, prostatic cancer is very rare. Okay. So, no.
Okay. I mean, I think people get confused because if you have prostate cancer, testosterone will make it worse. It will advance the tumor.
I believe so, but it's the saturation theory of Mark Tyler that says up to a point, you don't assimilate more. And when you use testosterone, the testosterone receptor is shut off. And when testosterone levels go down, the receptors open up in the environment they're searching for androgens. And also you can use DIM, which is an estrogenic compound from broccoli that blocks testosterone, which is the bad estrogen that proliferates the prostatic tissue.
All right, so guys, no, it's not going to give you prostate cancer. Chill out. Next one is, my wife is in her 40s and has a DHEA-S of 100 UG over DL, which is the bottom of the range. She would like to boost it to the top of the range, 450. What dose of DHEA do you recommend? 12.5 milligrams, 25 milligrams, or 50 milligrams? Can she take it for life? She is also taking DIM and Calcium D-glucarate to help with estrogen and hormone balance.
So twice a day, 8 a.m. p.m., every 12 hours, 25 would be good. So 50 a day. And after 1 month, check it out, the DHEA-S levels.
Okay, good one, good one. Last one. Dr. Touliatos seems to have the best hair of the guys in the 50s club. I don't know, Michael Hearn's got pretty good hair too, but your hair's, I think you got even better hair than Mike. Some of the greats are showing miniaturization. They just wear their hair too long. The question I have is, what do you think of Finasteride 1.25 milligram daily with 0.5 milligram Dustateride every other day or twice a week? Avodart can be pricey. So is that a good?
It's pricey, but I would like to castrate you. However, you may use Avodart, which is Dustateride, in a localized form of foam when you combine it with minoxidil that improves the circulation. Usually we use 0.5 Dustateride when we have prostate cancer. And people that are using it with prostate cancer have thicker hair. So if you join 0.5 Dustateride with 1 milligram Finasteride per day, is the most potent protocol, along with minoxidil and ketocol shampoo, that will make your hair grow as long as you use just testosterone, nothing else. Okay. By the way, those compounds do not block any other compound apart from testosterone. Okay, so just TRT.
Finasteride comes in a topical and in a pill. Does it matter which one you take?
Well, if you take the topical, it doesn't work systemically, so you avoid the side effects of the nudiness and the erectile dysfunction. Okay. Now, I have a patient who takes 20 years Finasteride, Dustateride, and he has done also 3 hair transplants. And he said, I have no problem with my sex drive as long as I'm using testosterone. Oh, okay. He's a patient of mine in TRT. So I think this post-finasteride syndrome, it's perhaps could be personalized. Some people don't feel it, some others feel horribly. But certainly, if you use testosterone alongside, there's no problem with that because you counterbalance. And the androgen bring you down, testosterone bring you up, okay? Yeah. And then you have a balance.
Right. I'm wondering if you're using things like Proviron, what would another one be? Masteron? That would cancel out the benefits of the Finasteride, right?
Give 1 ton of Luto or Fina, nothing. Just T, just testosterone GA.
You're never going to be Mr. Olympia that way. Oh, well. You're never going to be Mr. Olympia.
I mean, even Ronnie Coleman, I had a photo shooting with Alex in 2007, and he has a grow. So, yeah, I mean, it's up to the person if you are prone to a high DHT converter, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, my wife thinks it's, I'm losing my hair. She thinks it's from the steroids, but I have 4 brothers. I have the most hair out of all my brothers, and my late father had less hair at my age than I do now, and he never even heard the word steroid in his life. So I don't know. Who knows? Oh, I'll have to go to Greece, get some new hair. That's what we do now. Very cheap in Greece. Did you know that?
Hmm?
You go to Greece to get a hair transplant, it's like $4,000. If you do it in the US, it's $25,000 to $40,000. It's so much more
So you
expensive.
can use some peptides.
Yeah, we'll see. And
But
I still have some hair. I don't have as much hair as you, but oh well. What are you gonna do? Anyway, that's our show for this week, guys. If you have questions for the doctor for next week, please leave them in the comments. Leave some comments anyway. They help us out. Of course, share these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Turn on your notifications both on YouTube and on your phone so you know when we put out all the great content. We're very, very fortunate to have this show every week. No matter what's going on in his life, Dr. T makes sure that we have this show every Tuesday for you guys who need these answers. So we're very, very grateful to you, Doctor.
yeah, I mean, I want to thank Steve, you, Wick, Alan, Angela, and Jennifer for the support with the
Yeah, I mean,
emails.
is it okay to say that your mom?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, your mom passed away. You lost your mother just over a week ago. Very, very sorry for your loss, George. And
yeah, I mean,
uh,
she passed the day after our last show, you know, and it was a day that the gynecologist announced that we have a heartbeat for the baby.
mm,
So maybe my mother was waiting for that.
yeah, I mean, it's a circle of life. One life passes away, another life begins, and
Yeah.
the way we've been.
But MD had been my family those 4 years,
Yeah,
and my mother was glad that I made it to my American expectations. She was able to see my new book and these 7 pages editorial in February. She was still here, and so I'm thankful to the support.
I know she was very, very proud of you, George. I'm sure she was. So we're gonna wrap it up, guys. So thank you guys for watching. Ask Dr. Testosterone. We will see you right here next week. Bye-bye now. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.